All right, let's do it. Yeah. It's your boy, Chief Sud in the house. Shout outs to Pharaoh Monch for the inspo on the theme song, and shout outs to Big Feta for the engineering on the little cover. I love the intro. I listen to it before I start recording every time. Actually, shout outs to Dr. Feta, who just passed his medical school exam for the final time last week. So big ups, Dr. Feta. My man's been literally doing double time with med school and producing techno and doing all this other stuff. That's an actual genius if you never met a genius. But shout outs to you if you're listening to this right now. If you threw it up on Instagram, I appreciate it. Any likes, shares, 5-star reviews, any of that. I try to share it up and show love because I appreciate the love. So good looks if you post tag. I'm getting a little fan base going. I'm starting to get to the point where I can bring guests in. So I know a few of you guys were interested in that. Feel free to reach out if you have an idea of something you want to talk about. I know some people have said they want to talk about our straight up like Pledgeship days or other days, and some people just have specific stories they want to talk about. So let me know. Let me know in either the comments on here. You hit me up on my socials. It's at CHIEFSUTT on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. I stream every Wednesday. Pretty much anything that you're on, I'm on that. I'm on TikTok. I'm gonna start posting on that a little bit more too. But I don't have any actual sponsors yet. I'm still working on that. So for right now, this show is powered by. Whenever I'm sponsored, this is when I would say sponsored by. But this show is powered by Wawa. Pretty much every time I finish a workout, I get those mint matchas, 24 ounce. Get that oat milk because you know we vegan out here. So fire. It's like. Not really there for the energy. Like I just like how it tastes and it's smooth, and I know it's not that bad for me. And shout out to True Leaf. I am a blue card carrying red-blooded American. If you're gonna try to report me for talking about pot, but this sour OG Chem, it clocks in at like 24%. This is probably a majority of the reason why I'm able to talk about some of this stuff and not freak out. So shout outs to True Leaf in the house. But like I was saying in the origin story episode, I never really planned to rush a fraternity. That was never something that I was looking forward to. I essentially was planning on just riding out through college with like my brodies from Summer B. Shout outs to all the NOM homies. Big Dizzle, Val Cheese, all of them. Big Cecil, Smitterbug, Nick Dick. Shit, I could go on. But that's a whole nother episode again. Like I was going to just kind of thug it out through college with all that and just get after it. But we had been kind of getting recruited all summer by DKI and SAE and a few of these other fraternities. They would just see us in the gym or see us like hooping or just walking around campus being douches and be like, yo, these kids get it. They'll probably like want to be in it. And at the time, yeah, we were down to go to the parties and like look at older chicks and like try to scoop their bitches or like have somewhere to take girls that like wanted to go out. Like, yeah, you want to go to a fraternity party? Like, yeah, of course we're gonna go to your party and like do stuff. And like we were such assholes, we were changing music because we didn't like it and like stuff you just absolutely disrespectful. But during the summer we didn't care because we weren't planning on rushing. Like, why do we need to do any of this? I'm already promoting. Like, I don't need to do any of this. But it got to the first week of like actual fall, like Summer B ended, everybody goes home for a second and then you come back. I was living in like it used to be the old Argos area. The Beta was my dorm. It was dormy as hell. And then in the fall I lived in Juniper Poplar, which was like the new buildings and super nice, and we were on the 7th floor with the handicap room. So I was chilling, and they did a rush event there the first week, and Bennett was there. Nick Bennett was like this jacked ass little Guido dude that like had been recruiting us all summer, but not hard. He was just basically like, yo, y'all boys should do this shit. I'm telling you, like, you want to make real money, you want to get real connections, you want to set yourself up for real, like, this is what you need to do. And we were all like, nah, we do our own shit. We don't need to do all this, like, paying money for, like, friends and all that. But it was something he said that week that just, like, got my interest. He was in JP, like, downstairs for the little rush event that, like, everybody was doing. And I knew a couple of the guys from the other fraternities, but I literally did not take them seriously. Like, some of them wore the boat shoes and the fucking collared shirts and, like, that classic fraternity look, I guess. The Southern fried cold beer on a Friday night head ass niggas, like them. I wasn't feeling that. Neither were any of the Brodies. But SAE was different. They had straight up Guidos. They had like black people, mixed people, Spanish people all shapes and sizes. And I was like, damn, at this end of the day, they're all bros. So like, I don't know. He kept harping on the connections and how like if I wanted to promote, like this is a whole pool of promotions and like getting involved in Greek life. If we think we're such big dogs, like let's go ahead and be big dogs in Greek life and like dominate that. Like if we think we're so hard. And it was like, huh, all right. So I peeped, ran rush week, sold them on me. They were a little nervous about giving me a bid because I was acting a damn fool with all the homies during the entire, whatchamacallit. Shout out to the Overwatch 2 beta, just finished it. But I was being an asshole pretty much the whole summer with the homies just because we weren't really planning on rushing. So when I wanted to bid, I had to like inform them that like, hey, like I'm not that bad. I'm just my first time getting out the house. I came from a pretty strict upbringing, so like I wasn't even allowed to be at the movies that late. I wasn't allowed to do much that late. So all of this was completely new, and I was not really knowing how to handle it, but we got into it. And then once we all got bids, me, Valdez, Diz, Smitty, all the homies from like Summer, Cecil, we took the pledgeship seriously, and it was kind of fun. A lot of people don't know this, but with fraternities, part of it is like, you know, the partying and like doing the like formals and all the cool shit, but there's also raising money for good causes, and they do it in the form of like, one of them is called Anchor Splash, and every fraternity and sorority participates. The best way I can explain it is synchronized swimming with synchronized dancing as well. Like you do a little bit of both. It's super corny outfits, and like you match to a theme and everybody competes based off the theme, and each fraternity and sorority raises money for the actual charity themselves, obviously. So whoever raises the most money wins a category, and then performance itself is a category. So if you win both, like you just dominated. That's a fat trophies, 2 fat trophies, like it's dope. So what SAE used to do is they would go all in on winning one, because we knew like, all right, well, we have like the best looking dudes, and we're also like low-key good dancers for some reason. Like we can do this, and we'll just win it because it's something to win. And whatever other one we have, we'll just get disqualified because like we don't have enough money to just throw in ourselves. We'll raise money, we'll do a fundraiser, like we're obviously gonna like still participate, and we're still going to try to throw a good performance. But one performance we're taking seriously, trying to win first overall and win first in whatever, and then or first in first in performance and first in donations, and then the other one we're like, fuck it, we'll basically get disqualified, and we'll just put on a good show and let's give them something to talk about. But as a freshman, I was like, yo, I'm down to do some of that, but like I'm not doing Anchor Splash, because like Anchor Splash, all the freshmen had to wear like Speedos, and I was like, bro, I'm not trying to wear a Speedo. Like I didn't have like body dysmorphia or nothing like that, but I definitely wasn't super comfortable with my body to the point to be in a Speedo, especially the way my body tans and the way my ass sits, and like a lot going on. But I'm at a tailgate, and I get approached by Clint motherfucking Bertucci, who at the time, you know, I'm like 18, everybody's about 18, 19, 20. He rushed when he was 30. Because he got paid as fuck when he was younger and didn't have time to like have the college experience and network and do all that stuff. But he was young at heart always, so he just rushed because he felt like it had the money. But always good vibes and always super chill. Like you would never really be able to guess his age. He was just cool. And I'm drunk as fuck at a tailgate, and he's like, "Bro, we need you for Anchor Splash, man." I'm like, dude, I'm not doing that shit. Like, big ups to y'all, but like, I'll help, but like, nah, I'm not wearing a Speedo. He's like, nah, dude, the theme that we're going with is Jersey Shore. Dude, you'd be a perfect Snooki. Like, come on. Like, at first, I'm like, nah, at least that's not a Speedo. I could wear, like, women's bathing suit, that's whatever. And I'm like, yeah, nah, I don't know, bro. Like, I'm not sure about that. He's like, dude, if you do this, you'll get so many bitches. And bro, at 18, basically all I had to hear. And I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I'm in that. And next thing I know, I'm in a Target restroom, changing room, with who's now Josh Davey, who's now my mentor, and Sam Englert, who became my big sister. I'm trying on ladies' swimsuits with them, trying to see, like, we can coordinate, because he was Sammy's sweetheart and I was going to be Snooks, and real bond and shit. But got sold at a tailgate to jump into this. So next thing I know, I'm at like these random apartment complexes that the coaches work at, and your coaches are just like girls from the sorority that like drew up fucking choreographed like routines for all of us. And I'm going to these random like campus lodge pools to practice, and all these random like pools to practice and shit. And I'm gonna go deeper into those, because we have some other shit. But like, as a freshman, the dopest thing to me was going to be living in the house, like going through all these poths, anchor splash, like being involved with everything, being involved with like being in the house. And when it actually came to fruition and I got into the house, it was an absolute just masterpiece of chaos. We wrecked shit. All the boys that were in the first floor absolutely wrecked shit. We hated the establishment and anyone literally attempting to tell us what to do. And it got to the point we called ourselves the porch monkeys. Because, for one, we sat outside on our porch. We had a pretty nice, picnic table, equivalent to one you'd see at, like, an AA. And two, like, fat gold lions that just sat out front of the house. So, like, we would just post up there. We would eat out there. Girls would come by and hang out out there. Like, people would just post. And, like, we knew if we called ourselves the porch monkeys, people wouldn't call us that because that'd be fucked up. And we spent majority of our time when we weren't in class or, like, out, like, chilling right there. If you came back late at night, there's probably somebody out there freestyling, or Weez has his guitar and he's trying to get busy. Like, sometimes it was catcalling, sometimes it was us like instigating a basketball game. We were usually doing something that was inappropriate, but it was entertaining. And whenever people did get actually like bothered by something, they would usually come to us. Sometimes it would get thrown in the trash, but when it was something serious, like girls coming to us with an actual issue, like a dude being creepy at a party, or like something a little bit worse than that, they knew they can come to us and something would actually be done. So there was a level of trust with all that annoyance, unless you just didn't know us. In that case, we were just fucking assholes. You didn't like us. But there were a couple occasions that led us to getting into actual brawls, because, we were assholes at the end of the day. But I guess that's where we can get started. I mean, I was talking about anchor splash. There was an anchor splash practice that freshman year with the Jersey Shore themed one, and somebody fucking threw some goddamn eggs at us while we were practicing. And it was like, yo, what the fuck? And they really thought that shit was sweet. And they didn't realize we're like 40 deep of just testosterone. Like, we don't want to be out here like jumping around in a pool, flipping each other and doing all this other shit. And you niggas are going to throw eggs at us? We beat niggas up. What are you talking about? So Tucci leads the charge up this fucking apartment complex, like to the porch where the eggs get thrown at us. And some kid like comes out with a bat. Like he's going to fucking bang everybody up. And we're like, what's really good with it, dog? Like, go ahead and get it going. And as soon as this kid swings it, Tucci just snatches it like a fucking... It's like, yo, that's like some fucking Batman ninja shit. Like, got your ass. And at this point, like, he's got numbers behind him. Like, these kids can't do anything. They fucking apologize. They fucking fold the fuck up. Like, nothing they can do. And, like, that was a situation where people were actually going to get banged up. We weren't living in the house then. When we lived in the house... The first floor consisted of me, my roommate, who was on the basketball team. I'll leave him nameless, but if you want to do your due diligence, you can find him. I'm going to try to leave most of them nameless, unless like the stories are just funny and not going to get him in trouble. But shout outs to rooms. We had Bell on the first floor because he's not worried about getting caught slipping. Big Vicens, shout out to Vicens. I'll say McCluskey. McCluskey's that nigga. He didn't do nothing wrong anyway. Shout outs to McCluskey. They call him White Mike in the fucking fantasy football realm. YouTube McCluskey dunk if you want to see him yamming on Fight Out. But yeah, they never saw it coming. And then on the other side of the house, because it was like we had one wing, and then it was the living room common area, and then the other wing was Phoebe and Titty in one room, and the other room was Diz and Keezy. So it was just an absolute house full of maniacs. Second floor had M. Weeze and a couple of Willem Stink at one point. Shout outs to Brofeld. Had fucking just absolute monsters on every level. Third floor was usually the older guys. And there was kind of a division in the fraternity after a while with like the older guys that were a little bit more country into themselves and like the younger douchebag like assholes, aka us, that, you know, we could talk about that later. But at the end of the day, we didn't fuck with other fraternities trying to talk shit and do shit. So there was one instance where we were actually in the house, and this was probably 3:30, 4:30 in the morning. And somebody catches this drunk-ass kid, who we will leave nameless, peeing on our lions. Just think shit sweet. Like, that's funny. So somebody, like, rallies the troops. I believe it was Bell, gets the entire first floor. And all of us roll up together, like knock on their front door and say, yo, one of you guys peed on our lines. You have 15 minutes to come over here and clean it. Otherwise, we're going to come back in here and we're going to drag whoever did it, and we know who did it, out. And we're going to clean it with them. Okay? They said, okay, we're going to get them. We're going to do whatever. That's fine. So we're like, all right, bet, big chilling. And we're sitting outside, you know, doing what we do per usual. About 10 minutes go by and they send a pledge. Not the person that did it, but they send a pledge to clean this nigga's piss because he's scared as fuck. And I feel him. Like, you know, you don't want to get... we're all shirtless and crazy and hammered. And, like, you don't want that. You don't want anything to do with any of this. And sending a pledge, though, that's some pussy shit. But either way, they send this kid over. And we're sitting out there like, yo, that's kind of messed up, bro. They shouldn't have sent you over here. Like, we wouldn't send a pledge over here. We would have manned up, you know, done it, whatever, you know, owned up to it. Kid's like, yeah, man, it's fine. You know, just cleaning this other dude's piss off our lions when Dependable Keys comes home. Fresh off of, I don't know what he was fresh off of. I believe they were in Orlando at some show. And the last thing he heard was something in the group text, or somebody called him like, yo, they got Sigma Nu peeing our lines. And they told him what name it was. And Keezy comes flying into the front yard through the house, just yeets the door open, just kaboof. Yo, you guys think it's cool to piss on the fucking lions? And this kid puts his little bucket down. He's like, hey, man, it wasn't even me that did it. And before he can even get like another word out, Keezy just wrecks this kid. Just one hitter quitter. Good night. All the little people that came with them and the girls were like, oh my God, why did I do it? Didn't even give him a chance to speak. Just good night, you little bitch ass. Like, floored. That one should have turned into a brawl, but it didn't. They had probably 10 to 15 guys out there. We probably had, wasn't even the whole first floor, so maybe 5 and a couple girls. Like, the girls aren't going to fight. None of the girls going to fight, but like, it should have been a brawl, and they just saw that, picked Buddy up, apologized again, and left. Like, it was at a point like that where, like, yeah, we didn't even need to have like even numbers for us to be confident and just like fighting other people, which is really ugly and stupid at this point. But hey, we used to get down. There was a specific night, I think we were actually all in bed, because there were nights where, you know, sometimes we went to bed. And Legends, I don't know if y'all remember Legends or ever even heard of it, but they used to do like beer pong tournaments, and there was keg races at this other place called LA Hangout. I believe it was LA Hangout, but it might have been after Legends, and Sigma Chi had won something, and they got some big ass trophy. Shout outs to Eric Froelich, because it was him that started this. But he got home drunk with all of them off a bus and decided to just slam the trophy on our Lions. And just make a big fuss while everyone's in bed. Belle jumps up, wakes up our room, wakes up the whole first floor, tries to get the second floor. And we all just run out, and they have their whole house outside. And we're like, yo, what the fuck, dude? They're like, yeah, what the fuck are you gonna do about it? And bitch, we start swanging. Like eyes closed, just swanging. Not too many connections, not too many people getting like hit. Wasn't like any of these other fights I'm about to talk about. But that was just another time where it's like, bro, they have their whole house like fresh off a bus where it's 7, 8 deep, ready to get wild. Like zero fucks given. Full testosterone, all natural, ready to just we were just wired up to drink and hump and fight. Like that was the only things going through our minds. And then randomly, for some reason, for charity, if there was another charity event or some way to raise money, just something we could compete in, it was all in, and like we would go hard on that shit. But I don't want to just keep talking about fights, but there was one other specific one that was just another example of how we were. But I threw a Gasparilla party one time, and if you don't know what Gasparilla is, it's basically a Mardi Gras that is pirate themed in Tampa, and it starts at about 5 in the morning if you're young and restless. But you can start drinking your Jack Daniels or your Captain or whatever fucking whiskey you want to get into and makes you feel like a fucking pirate or whatever, and dress up like a pirate. Girls can dress up like pirates or whatever they call the little maiden ladies, and people get obliterated. So I threw a party one time with my homies fraternity, Kyle Kinch and Zach Ware's fraternity, at UT, and I always hung out with them, and they were cool. And like I worked with Zach; they was good people, and their fraternity seemed pretty similar to ours. They were pretty broy. They weren't really on the Southern Fried side; like they were just more chill. Even though nationally their fraternity might be one way, they weren't like that here. So yeah, let's throw a fucking party, yo. You guys got big area in the Soho vicinity, right by the parade route. We can throw something like pretty dope, especially if we combine like y'all's party efforts and our party efforts. We'll have like mad kegs, we'll have mad people, and it'll be dope as fuck. And it was. And we oversold buses. Keep in mind, this is before Uber and Lyft took off. As soon as Uber and Lyft became a thing, the whole bus industry was basically eliminated. Even for like special occasions, like people take limos for the most part. But for a while, like in 2010, 2011, taxis were your only safe way of not drinking and driving and getting from downtown to uptown, wherever you wanted to go. And they were kind of taxed. And if you wanted to travel in a large group, the most efficient way to do it would be a bus. So some people, I learned a game from Sean Tomarelli, shout out to Sean Tom, where he would just throw party buses for big events. He would rent out the bus. He had a couple bus connects, and he would just book it up front and pay out with the money from everybody paying to get on. Charge like 20 a person, pay like 250 for the bus. Make sure you have X amount of people on it. Figure it out. Like good numbers. So we ran. It was supposed to be like 7 buses from USF to this lot. It ended up pushing to like 12, like just with the round trips and how much excess and having to like borrow a bus from Ratmere and all this other shit. It got absurd. And we overfilled this lot. It was buck wild for a while. A lot of homies just got after it. A lot of just people getting after it. And after a while, there's a situation at one of the kegs where all these girls are trying to like get beer, because they're already drunk. Everyone's been drinking since 6 a.m. At this point, it's probably 3, maybe 2:30. So everyone's pretty hot, pretty bothered, and pissed drunk. So girls are trying to get brews or whatever, and there's these couple of dudes that just keep like kind of blocking them out and just continuing to refill for their fraternity brothers. And it got to the point where I see my boy Weeze and Mike D watch it happen about 3 or 4 times, and Mike D finally goes, yo, bro, like, you guys gotta like take care of the girls. Like, you guys have just been like jacking each other off for the last fucking 20 minutes. Like, let the girls get something to drink. And one of the guys is like, what are you talking about jacking each other off? We're fucking taking care of our boys. This is our fucking keg. We're fucking da-da-da. And Mike D continued on, said some stuff that I'm not going to repeat because it was fucking hilarious, but inappropriate for right now. And Next thing I know, one of them thinks it's really funny to just, poke his chest out and ask what he's going to do. And my boy Wheeze looks him straight in the face, says, throw him up, and just clocks him. As soon as the kid goes to throw, before you can even like get it fully out, he doesn't understand that Wheeze is a technically trained fighter. He's I don't want to say like state championship level wrestler from high school, but he was fresh off of like that wrestling. Plus he was doing he was doing Miss Martial Arts, and he was a little fucking weapon. High testosterone too, plus he's hammered. So he just knocks this nigga out one shot, and he falls into this little mini pool that's housing the fucking keg. His boys pick him up. They start swinging. Next thing I know, it's an all-out brawl, and I'm trying to like call buses while I'm also like pushing niggas on the ground and like picking the other niggas up, and like I'm trying not to swing too much because like it's business as usual. But like if I see one, I'm gonna send one. You know what I mean? And I kind of had to just keep it moving, call to get the buses, try to get everybody loaded up, and just kind of split the event up before it got too much bloodier, before any police pulled up. Because if there's one thing we were not trying to deal with in the history of ever, it was the police. So split that one up, but that was I guess a legendary brawl, not instigated by Mike D. I still blame that one on them. If you ask them, they'll still blame it on us. But, it was a little bit of everybody. We shouldn't be fighting about that. You guys honestly should have just backed up and, like, let the girls get their drinks. Or you should have just poured it for them if we're really getting technical. But that's actually none of my business. The only other one... I'm done talking about fights. We don't need to talk about fights. They were funny. We have a few more we could talk about. I could bring in a couple more homies to talk about those. But we also were notorious for throwing banging ass parties, including our A-Crop Wednesday pre-games. If you're at USF back in the Dizzy, A-Crop was the coolest fucking thing you could do. Wednesday nights, it was pretty much ran by SAE, but Marty was one of the bartenders. Gibby was another bartender, and he was Sigma Chi, but he was more on the SAE side. He was more bro-y. He's from fucking Jersey, so like definitely more on the Guido side. He hung out with us, though. He was one of the ones that could hang out with us. And Zach, actually, that did that Gasparilla party with me, he was one of the bartenders on the patio for a little while. It was originally Mike Tanner, and he was the one that was like the head promo guy too. He like ran it. So it was an SAE run thing, and we got shit hammered there. Everyone got like overly hammered. It was just like a Wednesday night thing at Acropolis. After a while, once we started getting like really after it, and like my big bro Nate would like get me banded up like beforehand, and I wouldn't have to worry about anything. I would just start pre-gaming with SB. I literally would schedule my like classes to make sure I was out early on Wednesdays, and SB did too. Shout outs to Big SB in the building. He's a motherfucking lawyer, so I got a budget for the lawyer though. We would pound a 24 and natty and just rip zombies on Call of Duty over and over again until people started like getting out of class and showing up, and then we'd play beer pong with them or like do other stuff. But like if it was one of those nights where like people were kind of just like going straight out to A-Crop and there wasn't really going to be a good pregame, like we would literally smash that whole 24 and just like rip zombs and then go out and drink more. Like there was a point where like, not just me, but I'll talk about me, I was an absolute drinking machine, to the point that there weren't really hangovers. I would wake up and just do more. I was funneling everything. We were funneling Skull after a while. They sold this one kind of tequila, I guess it was tequila, at Bull's Discount called Fire Crock. That was 2 for $20. It came in little plastic bottles. It was horrendous, but it became like the pregame and a tailgate drink because I got it for the low, and Bull's Discount didn't ID me. So if you guys wanted alcohol in bulk, we're getting that. And then I got a Monster little brand ambassador job, so I got one of those big ass coolers from them. And then I started mixing up, some of that pink sauce in that thing. We weren't any of those weirdo fraternities that they always show on TV and stuff like that were spiking it or anything like that, but that shit was stronger than a bitch, and you better have ate something before you drank some, because a couple cups of that at one of our parties, whether it was one of the legendary jungle parties where you may have heard Levels for the first time or seen Jason Ralt DJ for the first time, or seen me DJ for the first time. Or shout out to DJ London. But we did those parties pretty hard. We did a party that was known as graffiti, which we only did at the house once when I was there. We ended up getting a whole bunch of sanctions. That was the main point of this episode. I got the line from Valdez, so shout outs to Big Cheese. But Sutton says the SAE class of 2010 ATB was the 2001 Miami Hurricanes. Literally pulled up as an absolute army, ended up being an absolute army spread across the nation. But technically that whole fraternity was the 2001 Hurricanes and just ended up getting shut down with the sanctions and kicked out later. And I don't feel like talking about all that. But that was our Wednesdays. That was our good parties. A couple of the graffiti was a party where I got so off topic right there, man. There's just so much shit I can talk about with SAE and all the other shit and so many stories. And I just looked down. I'm already at 30 minutes. Like, I don't want to push it for too long. But aside from the jungle parties, graffiti was a party that you wore white. Everybody wore white. Everybody had markers and shit like that. We would try to throw up black lights and like whatever kind of cool lights we could. And you would draw on people. Almost how like you would draw on your t-shirt in high school before you went off for the summer. That kind of dubber. And it was fun because it was just kind of like a different kind of thing. It wasn't like an ABC party where, you know, you dressed up funky. Like everyone's a whiteboard. Like draw something, leave something cool. There's still people that pull up their graffiti shirts when they're moving and like send me shit, or they'll post it on their snaps or their Instagrams. And I'm like, yo, fire. So if you still got your graffiti shit, send me that. Post, tag me in it. I'll reshare it. That's fire as fuck. And then our bid house parties were just like our straight up, like when the new pledges are getting initiated, throw a fat party end of the semester, like get fucking buck wild. There was a bid house party that it was after Lions Ball, so it was technically like more of a random house party. We weren't allowed to have a bid house because of our personal sanctions that year. But there was a Dayglow party from another fraternity. There was an ABC party from another fraternity. And all the girls in Greek went to all those other parties and got dressed up and decked up and ended up coming to our house. So you just see like every kind of outfit ever. And they're all like jacking alcohol from these other fraternities. And ZBT threw a rave. So they're jacking shit from their fucking rave. And like the whole plan for all of them the whole time was get fucked up at the other parties and then just go to SAE's random party. And when I tell you that party was the wildest one, like in the history of anything, I'm going to leave everyone nameless in this one. But I was in my room, which again was on the first floor, with a little lady that was really cool. But she was in a sorority where somebody liked me, and she didn't want them to know that we were kind of doing stuff, didn't want feelings to get hurt. So whatever, kept it a secret. Everyone's mad hammered at this party, and she like pushes me into my room, knowing there's a bazillion people out here. And I'm like, oh man, you've been giving me looks this whole time. This is too much. So just making out, nothing too crazy, and start getting knocks on the door. And I'm like, fuck, definitely can't go out through the door. Gonna get caught slipping. Not trying to do that. Dang, I'm sitting here like Jimmy Neutron having a little brain blast. Like, I'm like, all right, check this. You lay down, pretend to be asleep, and just say, hey, Sut is really cool, and I'm cool with him, so I just crashed in his room, not feeling good, whatever. I'm going to climb out the window and post. So whenever you see me out the window, just go open the door, you're clear. She's like, I bet. So I'm climbing out the window. I'm like, yeah. Literally say aloud to myself, because I'm such a fucking drunk idiot. You ain't gonna catch a real nigga slipping. And my boy Diz is sitting there with his ex at the time, and goes, who the fuck are you talking to, bro? I fucking slammed the window shut. I sit at the bench, because, obviously there's some porch monkey sitting at the fucking bench at this point in time. And I'm like, hey, bro, play cool for a minute. I'll explain everything later. And he just fucking laughs it off. I'm like, I bet. She comes walking out with a group of the girls, and they're like, yeah, she's not feeling good. We're going to go. And I'm like, oh, man, that's wild. All right, peace. They fucking head out. I'm like, da-da-da-da-da-da. It's the motherfucking, it's you double teeth. I'm like, yeah. Fucking made it, nigga. Like, that was a close call. There was another close call where after I got suspended from campus, I talked about that in the origin story. That whole time, like, not the whole time at SAE, but a good portion of it, I wasn't even allowed to be on campus. If I would have been caught, I would have gotten a trespassing charge plus whatever drunk charge I had and whatever. But I was such about my money ass nigga, I was still running buses out of Greek Village because it was the smartest place to do it and had the biggest culmination of people, and I could just go to Greek and scoop everybody at once. I could collect like, not the money up front unless I went to Greek and like had somebody do it or pick it up for me or something, or if I just like made my rounds. What I tried to do was, if there was a friend group and like they had like 7 or 8, I'd just have one person collect all of it. I would keep it on the list and I would just pay the bus person day of. And like, there were random occasions where I would undersell a bus and I would have to pay like out of pocket if it was like a quick event to like Asia or something like that. But for the most part, like these Gasparilla buses and shit like that, they were oversold. So there was one Gasparilla, and it wasn't the Zach and them party. It was the next year. The homies got into a brawl at Asia the night before, and I had the worst DJ set of my entire life. But yeah, that one was bad. That was very young in my career. Either way, this was a big Gasparilla where there was probably all of Greek Village is full, so probably picture 900 people just standing there, and 3 buses, you know, they're getting ready to start moving. I'm filling them up and shit like that, and a cop just rolls up on me. I got my sunglasses on, I'm buzzing, I got a beer in my hand, I'm big chilling, and he goes, hey, let me see a license, man. And my heart just sinks because I'm like, damn, if I give this dude my real ID, I'm going to jail. And I'm not getting these people to Gasparilla and anything else. So without any hesitation, I just slide in my Fenk. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm sorry about this. I'm getting ready to get everybody out of here. And they just threw out all the trash. So it'll be clean. And he looked at my ID, he looked at me. He's like, yeah, get him out of here in the next like 15 to 20. I'm not trying to deal with this. Gave me my ID back and slid. And I was like, whew. If you weren't on the buses at that point, I jumped on. I gave past responsibility on to Bell or somebody else. Like, yo, y'all niggas deal with this shit. And I gotta go. I gotta drink. I gotta chill out. Like, my whole life just flashed before my eyes. Like, I'm not going back to jail, bro. Little did I know. But, yeah, no, there was all kinds of wild shit that happened in the house. There was a lot of stories that I don't want to tell. There's some that I would have to, like, get people's permission. Like the time that my boy Bell had a girlfriend, but he also had these 2 foreign girls that were all over him, and he was like, hey, I don't mean to be rude, but would you guys be interested in this guy? And they said, yeah. And next thing we knew, this random person that I will remain nameless had a threesome with these 2 foreign chicks just because Bell's a good friend. But either way, we can go into some of those other ones later. If you enjoyed the episode, let me know. Go ahead and let me get a little 5-star action on Spotify, Apple, whatever you listen on. I got all the way up on the Google. I don't know if the Google podcast thing is something y'all use, but I'm fully integrated on that, so you can pull me up there. Hit me up on my socials. I play Emberd if you're in the Tampa area pretty much every Saturday from 5 to 9. They let me play some groovy ass house, and they fuck with your boy out there. So if you want to see me in real life, I'm there. I stream Overwatch on Wednesdays if you want to watch me on the internet and talk shit there. I'm probably going to start streaming some Fork Knife, but I'm getting ready to move. Got approved for a nice little spot with Miguel friend. So once I get that all done and settled in, I'll get a little content schedule figured out and all that for the vlog, and updated stream schedule with some more gangs, and maybe play a little bit of Switch. But be on the lookout for another episode of the Day One Dolphins podcast with my boy Ouch. Be on the lookout for the first episode of the Smokehouse podcast, which is going to be only on YouTube. That's going to be me and all the Brodies, Young Blunts, Kyle, Quinn, Grant, Dr. Boom, a.k.a. Luke Lethal, a.k.a. Mr. Steal Your Girl, Too Kind, all them. But thanks again for tuning into Sutton Says. If you were here, you're the shit, and I appreciate you. Have a good one. Peace.